kick over to page 5.
Before you start, can I go to the bathroom?
Yeah. So we're gonna wait for you to come back.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it was the before you start part.
I'll be quick.
Oh, okay.
We're waiting.
Yeah, well, while we're waiting, anybody has a song they'd like to sing or a story to tell? Anyway, you can read through this little blurb here on function notation. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, this concept of function notation will get crazy down the line, but not yet. It'll get crazy in Algebra 2 and pre-calc. For now, we'll just enjoy the fact that it'll be pretty easy. And so, yeah. So you go ahead and read that. Maybe 2 or 3 times. Really kind of absorb the information there. Maybe rephrase it and put it in your own words.
On like the page for the vertical line test, why would it not be number 1 for multiple choice?
Was that the one with the vertical line?
Yeah.
Because if I draw a vertical line on top of a vertical line,
Oh yeah.
infinitely many. Look at all these intersections.
But if it's horizontal lines and you draw a line, it passes both lines. One is 2 points.
If you horizontal line,
Yeah.
it'll only cross once, no matter where you draw it. Here's my horizontal line. It's only going to cross it once,
Oh.
no matter where I put it. I mean, I'm just enjoying myself at this point. So.
It was not okay straight for me.
Oh, you're back. Well, I don't have a line draw tool for a whiteboard. So anyway, f of x, and it's read as f of x. Some people say f at x. It means the same thing. It's saying the f function when x is equal to a particular value. All right. The f of x notation takes the place of y in an equation. So if you were to graph this, you would graph it as y equals 3x minus 5. What kind of an equation is y equals 3x minus 5? Slope-intercept, so it's a line. All right, so you'd have slope, y-intercept, you would graph it, pop a ruler on it, and call it a day. But here, using this notation, we can determine in this function, if it says f of x, it's telling you it's a function. It's telling you it's something that passed the vertical line test. That's great news, because that means you don't have to worry about that. All I have to do here is replace every x with the 4. So, meh and meh. All right, so this is notation saying f of 4. This is 12 minus 5, which is equal to 7. All right. The big misconception that people have when dealing with this is that this looks like multiplication. You see f in parentheses 4. It looks a lot like f times 4. That's not what it's saying. Right? This is saying f of 4. Right? So the function of the x value 4, meaning what the function will give as a result when the x value is equal to 4. If I were to graph this line, 3x minus 5, rough sketch. So something like that. If I were to plot an x value of 4, pop a 4 here, go up to the line, grab that point, then shoot over to the y-axis, that y value would be 7. All right. So it's just a different way of looking at it, but it's going to be a useful way, or actually an extremely important way, moving forward once you start getting into like these kind of courses, right, AP or otherwise. But you're talking algebraic approaches that rely on this form of notation. Entire courses. So you'll get away from it in geometry a little bit, but then algebra 2, pre-calc, calculus, any version of calculus, 1, 2, 3, whatever, they all rely on this notation. All right, so this is the bridge to being able to be successful in those kind of courses, just understanding this notation. And again, this is, I can't emphasize this enough, it's not the multiplication of f and x. You're not taking f multiplying it by the x value. It's just saying a function of x, a function where the variable in the problem is equal to x. This is a function, we're using h, the h function. We don't always use f, so h is a function of b. All right, so when I'm looking for h of -3, I'm replacing every b with a -3.
Why would you use anything other than f?
Say it again?
Why would you use anything other than f?
Because sometimes we have to graph more than one function at the same time, or use more than one function at the same time, and to distinguish one from the other. We do that. All right, so 27 plus 6, so 33, 34. So the h function, when b is equal to -3, that's what this means. The h function, when b is equal to -3, will give a 34. All right. I think personally probably something you don't want to graph. One, because you may not know how to graph that yet, and also because that number is pretty large. All right. All right. No homework for today. Leave you with just examples 1 and 2 completed, because it isn't until you get to number 3 where things start getting a little weird. All right. So it says find g of 2w when g of x is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 1. All right, so what that's telling us to do, again, because we're just talking about notation here, it's telling us to replace the x in the g function. And maybe I'll just circle them all. Each of those x's gets replaced with a 2w. Again, the left-hand side of the equation, when you're evaluating, is just notation. This is saying the g function when x is 2w. So once you make that substitution, you're done on the left-hand side. It's only the right-hand side that we're looking at. So I'm going to square out the 2w. 2 squared is 4. W squared is just w squared. -2 times 2w becomes -4w plus 1. All right. We're not looking for a solid numerical answer like 34 in the last question, because we're evaluating a function in terms of a new variable, so that new variable should be in our answer. All right, if they then told us that w is equal to, let's say, 20, then you could go ahead and plug that in, but they didn't, so we're stuck at that point. That's our final answer. The next one, it says, given that f of x is equal to -4x minus 10, if f of n is equal to 14, what's the value of n? All right, so that's telling us to replace all the x's with n's. So we'd be looking at f of, instead of x, it would be equal to n. So I'd pop in an n everywhere I see an x. Clean it up, not much to clean here, it's really just dropping parentheses. Then it's telling us that f of n, which is what this whole thing is equal to, is equal to 14. So I can replace the f of n with a 14 and then solve that linear equation. Alright, so I'll just add 10 to both sides. You get 24. Then I divide out the -4. And I get the value of n to be equal to -6.